Iran and U.S., this ended up causing the stock market to end up moving to that upside and ended up having us gap up that morning. Iran and USA said they were going to schedule another meeting for Tuesday. They ended up speaking yesterday, which caused the momentum to even continue. And they ended up talking over the clashes that happened over the weekend. So how you feel about that?
I did not hear about that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So that was literally the momentum for Monday. So let's see whether or not that holds. But just last week, I believe we were talking about how they ended up meeting for, they call it a memorandum or something like that. It was like ended up having a meeting, right? And they ended up coming to the conclusion that they're going to have a ceasefire. They're going to halt the attacks, right? And that ended up causing the market to go up. But then at some point over the weekend, Trump says some other stuff. I guess we ended up attacking them last week or something like that. Ended up attacking Iran, sending some more missiles at them. And
I think it was Israel.
Israel, one of them guys, and he was basically saying if one of them guys do not stand down, we're gonna continue to go. So it was some more negative stuff. But then this week we turn around and happen to have some more positive stuff. It's just a pattern, if I really, let's see if it holds with what he's saying. But if we go to the daily chart and remove this stuff, right, all-time high at the price of 758, and then you have where we're failing to get below at 720. With everything that he's been saying the past, since May 26th, it's been all with that war. Okay, we'll have some good news, then some bad news, some good news, then some bad news. So we'll see what happens, man. But at the end of the day, emphasizing you got to take advantage of these dips, because anytime we end up getting a low, you can see that the market moves in a cycle. We don't want to stay down forever. So even if we do break below, you got to take advantage, because the market is obviously going back up at some point. So you got to remove that fear. You got anything to say about that?
Low key, I think that reclaiming my statement, what I had just said, we had this liquidity grab right here. And so on the chart, it looks like it points out, right? It's like a sore thumb right here. And so, I think that once we went below this, below 5% from all-time highs, that was the retest, right? It wasn't, well, obviously it's a liquidity grab, right? But what I'm saying is we might not be going down. I think that might be that was the catalyst there. And that was just on, I think that was like Friday, right? That was last week. So for us to be where we are now from where that was, I think that we might see a couple of run up for the next for tomorrow, and then possibly, news still has to come out, but next week there's no telling where we'll be.
Yeah.
Right. We might be inching up closer to those all-time highs or just around that range, but I don't see us going too much further because that liquidity was just grabbed there. It was already there. That is they grabbed that.
I feel you, man. And speaking of maybe not even going down and possibly even going higher, yesterday markets also went higher because we had some news come out saying yesterday was the last day of the second quarter. And SP 500 and Nas100 had the best first half of the year since 2020.
Yeah, see?
So that's something to keep in mind as well.
A little bit of hype there.
Yeah, for sure. So, you got these markets having the best first half of the year since 2020.
While interest is staying the same too.
Right. We got
crazy.
We got, that's important too. Like as inflation rises during these moments when interest rates are, higher for longer, people like to put their money into the market, right? People go to run to them assets when inflation rises, because that's how you beat inflation, right? If your dollar is becoming if your dollar is decreasing in value, you put your dollar somewhere where it's increasing in value. America built the whole system around, hey, we're gonna take this dollar and we're gonna make it out of thin air, but we're gonna put it into things that's gonna grow over time. hence the stock market. So anybody who still has that fear, and if you've been fearful for the first 6 months and still, hearing all the stuff about the market and still haven't taken advantage, first half of the year since 2020 has the best first half of the year. So markets are moving, having a great first half. Tuesday, we also had the tech companies recovered, right? You had all those companies, Apple, Nvidia, even Nvidia's down right now at 200. They're at a good spot right now. If you guys got $200, not financial advice, but taking advantage of these dips on these top tech companies, man. They dipped and they came right back up. You got Apple, then dipped, now it's back up, right? Amazon, then dipped, moving back up to the upside, retesting them levels that they broke out of. So let's see whether or not they hold when going back up to the upside. But either way, when they don't, get these companies at these prices at a discount, because no matter what, you're still going to be spending money with these companies. It's kind of backwards for you to continuously spend money with Amazon, continuously spend money with Apple, and you don't want to own the stock or take the time to own the stock, right? Or even think that this is a company that's not valuable enough to own. You're going to be giving them your dollar anyway. What's your thoughts on that?
You said it perfectly, man. Mm-hmm. You already use Amazon, you know what I'm saying, every day. Netflix, all these companies.
We was actually off camera. We was talking about Netflix earlier. Netflix ended up moving up to the upside.
Talk
about Netflix. That's one of your favorite stocks on the market, rightfully so.
Right, man. We've been talking about Netflix since before they were doing the split, man. It was like $1,200 a share, right? They did the 10-1 split back in, what was that, like January, February?
Let's see right here.
November. Damn. See, we've been talking about Netflix for months. So now Netflix, after they did the split, man, anything under $100 Netflix, I feel like is a great buy, man. And now we're at $74. We got all this upside to grow from, what is this, all-time high from this year?
Yeah.
All-time high from this year back in April, which is $110. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we at $74 a share right now, man. Netflix is at a prime time buy.
46% discount.
Yep.
Right, we call it a discount because you probably still got a Netflix subscription. If not, your mama's still paying for it. If not, your grandma's still paying for it. If not, you either got a girl on the side that you just talking to for a Netflix account, or your girl got a Netflix account.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? Money is still flowing into this company, and you got to think, is Netflix going to be around still 10 years from now, 20 years from now? I mean, Netflix was the first to have these, to be the streamer service. They beat out Hulu. They beat out they ain't even Tubi trying to be Netflix.
Right.
So they're the Apple of this space. They're the Amazon of that space. They're the
trying to tackle Paramount. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
They're trying to get into spaces that they haven't been before. So.
Exactly. You got Paramount, HBO, Disney Plus. These guys are trying to follow what Netflix already started. They took the customers away from them.
Yep.
So, Netflix at $75, $74. Tomorrow's going to be Friday. We're coming up on 4th of July. You probably got 500 planned to blow.
On fireworks, whatever. $100, $200, whatever you need to do, man.
You don't even remember what you bought last year for the 4th of July. You don't even remember what you bought last year. So actually there's some Netflix
meat
news
for the
here.
grill.
So Netflix said director Carl, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, was sentenced to 30 months for defrauding the company of $11 million, misdirecting profits, misdirecting project funds into stock options in cryptocurrencies, including Dogecoin. So he was stealing money and going to invest that money.
I mean, at least it was for a good cause. He wouldn't have to, you know what I'm saying?
Then they talking about 30 months. Like,
crazy.
That's
almost 3 years.
That's almost 3 years. And he might really do 1.5, 2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then he gets out to a whole bunch of M's anyway.
Right. It ain't nothing but a little bit of straightening.
Ain't nothing but a little bit of straightening. That's been caused. But Netflix been in a downtrend, man. They're at a prominent low
3 months
for the last few months. But this is what stocks do after they split typically. So do not let this. Don't let this fake you out, man. If you got $75, get you some Netflix, man. Get you some Netflix.